Hey there, friends. Picture this. You're standing in the middle of a storm, rain pounding, wind howling. Everything you built shaking at the edges. Maybe it's a storm of anger, a storm of hurt, a storm of regret. You've been wronged, let down, broken in ways that feel impossible to fix. And in that moment, all you want is to fight back, to hold on to the pain, to let it define you. But what if instead you could let it go? What if you could rise above it, stronger, freer, whole again? Today, I want to take you on a journey with a man who didn't just survive a storm. He walked through it, turned it into light, and showed the world what it means to forgive and rise. His name is Nelson Mandela, and his story isn't just about history. It's about you, me, and the incredible power we all have to heal and soar. Let's step back to a place far away in a time that feels heavy just to think about. It's South Africa, the mid-20th century, and the air is thick with injustice. There's a man tall and strong, with eyes that burn with hope even when everything around him screams despair. He's not a king, not a soldier, just a father, a husband, a dreamer named Nelson Mandela. He's fighting for freedom, not with fists or guns, but with words, with courage, with a belief that people can be better. And then the unthinkable happens. He's arrested, torn from his family, locked away in a tiny cell on Robben Island. 27 years. Imagine that. 27 years of cold stone walls, backbreaking labor, and a world that wants to forget him. But here's where the story twists, where it grabs you and doesn't let go. Mandela doesn't break. He doesn't let bitterness swallow him. He's in that cell, day after day, year after year, and instead of plotting revenge, he's thinking about forgiveness. He's got kids, Zeni, Zinzi, Makatho, others he's raised and loved. And he knows they're out there, growing up without him, facing a world that's cruel and divided. He could have let hate take over. He could have taught them to fight fire with fire. But he doesn't. He writes to them, speaks to them in his heart, and says, "Forgive, rise." Two simple words, but they carry a weight that could lift mountains. Picture him there, in that cramped cell, scratching letters on scraps of paper, breaking rocks under a blazing sun. He's not just surviving, he's growing. He's learning to forgive the guards who beat him, the system that caged him, the years stolen from his life. And he's doing it for his children, for his people, for himself. He knows that holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. So he lets it go. He rises above it. And when he finally walks out of that prison in 1990, gray-haired but unbowed, he doesn't come out swinging. He comes out healing. He becomes South Africa's first black president, not to punish, but to unite. That's the gift he gave his kids, not just a free nation, but a lesson in how to turn pain into power, how to forgive and rise. I want you to feel that for a second. 27 years locked away, and he chooses forgiveness. Most of us can't let go of a grudge from last week, a harsh word, a broken promise, a hurt that festers. But Mandela, he looked at a lifetime of injustice and said, "I'm bigger than this. I'm stronger than this." And he passed that strength to his children, not with fancy speeches or grand gestures, but with the quiet, steady way he lived. He showed them that forgiveness isn't weakness. It's the hardest, bravest thing you can do. And rising? That's what happens when you let the weight fall away. Let's bring this home. Think about your life right now. Maybe you're carrying something heavy, a fight with a friend, a betrayal from years ago, a mistake you can't forgive yourself for. Maybe you're a parent watching your kids stumble, wondering how to teach them to stand tall when you're still figuring it out yourself. Mandela's story isn't some far-off legend. It's a call. It's a whisper in your ear that says, you don't have to stay stuck. You can let go. You can rise. And it starts with one choice, one moment, one step toward forgiveness. I've got a friend. Let's call him Mark. He's 52, lives in Vancouver, runs a small business, has 2 teenagers who test his patients daily. A while back, he told me about his dad, how they'd fought years ago, how it ended with silence, how it still gnawed at him. I can't forgive him, he said. He doesn't deserve it. I thought of Mandela in that cell, forgiving men who'd never say sorry, and I asked Mark, what if it's not about him? What if it's about you? He didn't answer right away, but a week later, he called his dad. They talked. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. And Mark? He said he felt lighter, like he could breathe again. That's what forgiveness does. It lifts you. It lets you rise. That's what Mandela knew. He didn't tell his kids, hold on to every wrong. Fight every battle. He told them, let it go. Be bigger than the hurt. And they saw it in him. How he walked out of prison and shook hands with the people who'd locked him up. How he built a nation not on revenge, but on hope. His daughter Zinzi once read his words to a crowd when he couldn't. Words of defiance and dignity. His son Makatha lived quietly but carried that same resilience. Mandela didn't just give them a lesson. He gave them wings. I want you to hear this. Forgiveness isn't about erasing the past. It's not about pretending it didn't hurt. It's about choosing to be free. It's about saying, this won't define me. This won't hold me down. Mandela could have come out of that prison a bitter man, and no one would have blamed him. But he chose to rise above the pain, above the hate, above the years he'd lost. And every time he did, he showed his kids and the world that you can build something beautiful out of something broken. Think about the last time someone hurt you. Maybe it was a big betrayal. Maybe it was a small slight. Did you hold on to it? Did it weigh you down? Now imagine letting it go, not because they earned it, but because you deserve it. Imagine rising above it, not to prove a point, but to reclaim your peace. That's what Mandela did, day after day, in that cell. He didn't have a cushy life or a clear path. He had a choice. And he chose forgiveness, not once, but over and over, until it became his strength. And here's the magic. He didn't do it alone forever. In prison, he found allies, fellow prisoners, even some guards who saw his light and joined him. When he walked free, he didn't just rise for himself. He lifted a nation with him. He forgave not to forget, but to build. He rose not to gloat, but to lead. And his kids? They grew up knowing that strength isn't in holding grudges. It's in letting them go. So, let's talk about you. What's your prison? What's the thing locking you in, keeping you small? Maybe it's anger at someone who's gone. Maybe it's guilt over something you can't change. Maybe it's a wound you've nursed so long it feels like part of you. Mandela would look at you and say, you're free. You just have to choose it. Because forgiveness isn't a gift you give someone else. It's a gift you give yourself. And rising? That's what happens when you step out of the shadows and into the light. I want you to feel that right now. That spark Mandela carried. It's in you too. It's in the way you keep going, even when it's tough. It's in the way you love, even when it's hard. Forgiveness isn't easy. It's a fight, a climb, a daily decision. But it's also freedom. It's the key that unlocks a cell, the wind that lifts your wings. And every time you choose it, you're building something strong, something real, something that lasts. Let's dream big for a moment. Imagine what you could do if you let go of the hurt. Imagine healing that rift, one kind word at a time. Imagine forgiving yourself, one gentle thought at a time. Imagine looking back a year from now and saying, I'm free. I rose. That's not a pipe dream. That's a promise. And it starts with one small, brave act of letting go. Mandela didn't just leave us a free South Africa. He left us a roadmap of resilience, a shout from the past that says, you're tougher than your pain. He forgave through decades of darkness, through a world that tried to crush him, and he rose. Not because he was superhuman, but because he was human enough to choose it. And you got that same grit, that same chance to turn the weight into wings. I want you to believe that. Right now, wherever you are, whether it's a snowy street in Ottawa, a rainy day in Manchester, or a quiet suburb in Boston, I want you to feel it. You're not too broken. You're not too tired. You're exactly where you need to be to start. Mandela didn't wait for the chains to fall. He broke them with his heart. And when he looked at his kids, he didn't see victims. He saw survivors, builders, risers. What do you see when you look at yourself? What could you become if you dare to forgive? Here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing. One hurt you've been carrying. One grudge you've held tight. Maybe it's a word you need to say, a hand you need to offer, a burden you need to drop. Let it go today. Let it be messy, let it be hard. Just let it be, then do it again tomorrow. Stack those moments like Mandela stacked his years, and watch what happens. He turned a prison into a presidency, hate into hope. What can you turn your forgiveness into? A stronger family? A freer soul? A life that shines? I want you to feel that rush right now. That tingle, that whisper that says, yes, I can, because you can. Mandela proved it. He stood in that cell, surrounded by stone and silence, and he rose until the world couldn't look away. You got that in you too, a quiet, fierce, unstoppable force. It's not about forgetting. It's about flying. It's not about losing. It's about winning your own peace. So what's it going to be? What's your first step? I'm not asking you to fix everything today. I'm asking you to free one thing. Open the door. Take the leap. Rise. Because here's the truth. Forgiveness isn't just what you do. It's who you become. It's your power, your gift, your way to something greater. Mandela didn't just tell his kids to forgive. He showed them how to soar. And now, I'm telling you, you got wings. Use them. If this stirs something in you, hit that like button. Let me know you're with me. Subscribe if you want more stories to lift you up, more reasons to rise. And leave a comment. Tell me your one small step. I'll read every word because I believe in you and I want to see you fly. We're not just here to listen. We're here to forgive, to rise, to win. Start today, friends. Start small, start brave, start now. The sky's waiting. See you next time.